picking the right jig. So you see in the Netfish app, we suggest using a jig a lot of times, and sometimes it's a swim jig, sometimes it's a football jig, sometimes it's a flipping jig, and they're all jigs, but they're all created differently. And I'm going to show you a couple of the differences real quick and explain why you're going to use one at a certain time. This right here is a football jig, and we suggest this anytime you're fishing around rocks. And you can see the design of this head. It's actually shaped like a football, and what that does is it prevents it from slipping down into the crevices of the rocks. It keeps it up on top of the rocks as you're dragging it along. Generally, when I throw this, I use something like a 4-inch Berkley Chigger Craw as a trailer, and I just thread it on. Green pumpkin's a real hard color to beat on this. Green pumpkin or brown. That's what it looks like when I fish it. Now, if you're going with something like a swim jig, you know, the head of a swim jig is real different. You can see how it's kind of cone shaped like this. This is an XPS swim jig, and it's got a cone shaped head, and that's for actually swimming through cover, you know, whereas the football jig, it's got that wide head to keep from getting in the cracks. This thing, you want to get through the cracks and crevices. You know, you're throwing this around grass and wood, and you want it to come through that heavy cover. So this is what a swim jig looks like. White's a really common color here. A lot of times I just thread on a single tail grub like that to make it look like it's a bait fish swimming through the water. Another good color is green pumpkin, something that looks like a bluegill. But, you know, just a couple little differences there. But if you try to use a swim jig and drag it through the rocks, you're going to get stuck every time. And if you try to use a football head and fish it through the grass, you're going to get stuck every time. So you got to have both.